Pallet swaps. A gaming trope that I personally will never get tired of due to the massive potential these characters have if expanded on correctly. Take Luigi from the original Super Mario Bros., vast amount of ninjas from Mortal Kombat, all with different personalities and lore. And my glorious King Scott Cawthon knew this and had color swaps of his own in his first game, that being Golden Freddy. And can you really blame him? It's simple. If you just take a really cool character, give him a different color, boom, now you got one of gaming's most iconic secret characters that now has a ton of merchandise and multiple appearances in the following titles. So, Scott saw the success of Golden Freddy and proceeded to make more secret characters in the sequel, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, with specifically 3 palette swap characters, that being JJ, RWX, and today's topic, Shadow Freddy. I have a free period right now. I'm just editing. I forgot to mention, Endo2 was also a new character, but like not technically, because we're talking about palette swaps right now, and he's not one. So yeah, don't bring him up. Now, Shadow Freddy is my fucking favorite FNAF character of all time. Like, I don't care if he's mostly forgotten and hasn't had much appearances or merchandise, I still deeply love and care about the character. I mean, just take a look at my reaction to when I saw him in the movie. My parents are not in the vicinity. It's that sexy ass. And I like the character so much that I even made this because of how pissed off I was that Funko didn't make any merch based off the character. And today I just kind of want to get into why I consider Shadow Freddy FNAF's most wasted potential. But before we cover the games, I super quickly want to cover the movie and his novel appearances. In the novel, he does fuck off. All he does is aura farm for like 3 panels. They don't call him Shadow Freddy. He doesn't even say anything like follow me. Now, in the movies he makes a small cameo alongside Sparky the dog, but it's looking like Max is going to end up possessing Shadow Freddy, which I personally don't have a problem with, since the movie universe has already shown that it's willing to change big parts of the lore up, like Mike's and Vanessa's relationship with Afton. So starting off with FNAF 2, where Shadow Freddy doesn't really do anything of significance, considering the fact that he's just an Easter egg that has a 1 in 200 chance of appearing in parts and service once everybody is gone. But Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is when things get interesting. Apart from appearing in the office with a 1 to 10,000 chance of appearing every single time you put the camera down, yes, I know he's called Crumple Freddy, but if you do some tweaking with the images, he's purple. Other than that, he appears in the Follow Me minigames where he guides the FNAF 1 gang into the safe room, where they inevitably come face to face and get overpowered by Afton. This happens from night 1 to 4. I don't know what happens on 5, he just dips. He wasn't trying to get pressed by Cassidy or something. Now in FNAF 4, Nightmare is the final boss of the game, and although he's never referred to as Shadow Freddy directly, 1, in the files, he's called Shadow Freddy, and 2, it makes sense, you know. Shadow Freddy is a dark, shadowy reflection of Golden Freddy, so the same thing applies with Nightmare and Nightmare Freddy. And on the topic of Nightmare, I really want to talk about his Ultimate Custom Night voice lines, because this is technically his next appearance, unless you consider this little guy Shadow Freddy. And obviously I'm going to skip over FNAF World because it's a spin-off. But back to Nightmare. Of course he has his overly edgy lines like this.
You will not be spared. You will not be saved. I'm here to claim what is left of you.
But there are certain lines that really make you question, and this is a good time to ask this question. What is Shadow Freddy? Now, we've never had a direct answer to what the Shadow animatronics are, but we do have a bunch of theories that possibly explain this. The one I find most likely is Agony Theory, which suggests that Shadow Freddy is made from the agony, specifically the lingering pain and suffering from William Afton's murders, and I personally really find this as a really cool origin story for the character. Speaking of Afton, I really want to talk about Shadow Freddy's and Afton's connection to each other, because every single time we saw him in the original games, Afton had something to do with it. In FNAF 2, his first appearance, Afton was the day shift guard. Shadow Freddy is there. In the Follow Me minigames, Afton is putting belt to ass on the animatronics. Again, in FNAF 3, Afton is Springtrap, so it's pretty obvious. In FNAF 4, we're in Afton's house. The only time this doesn't apply is Pizzeria Sim, but I'll talk about that later. It's heavily implied that Afton lured the kids to the safe room, and with Shadow Freddy doing the same exact thing, heck, the first time he says anything in the franchise, he's saying exactly what Afton said before he slimed out Susie. Which is why it doesn't make any fucking sense that he wasn't in Pizzeria Sim. Like, really think about it. FNAF 6 is about tying up loose ends and finally moving on through tragedies. And although, yes, Afton does finally get what he deserves, Shadow Freddy, someone who is Afton's just not even being there ever, it makes sense. I mean, why would you have someone who represents Afton get burnt or destroyed when you can have the man himself face the consequences of his actions? So now you're probably asking, what am I getting at? It's simple. All I've ever wanted was a proper conclusion. What this said conclusion could have been, I honestly don't know. Because he isn't like other animatronics that we know what happened to them. I mean, the original gang got dismantled and eventually formed into Molten Freddy. The toys, shortly after FNAF 2, got scrapped, and you see them in the box in FNAF 3. The Phantoms simply aren't real. The Nightmares simply aren't real. But Shadow Freddy isn't anything like that. We don't even know what he is. Agony Theory is just that, a theory. A very popular one that has a lot of evidence supporting it. But the fact that it hasn't even been confirmed what Shadow Freddy is some bullshit. Because honestly, at this point, in terms of the games, obviously he's going to most likely be in the movies. But in terms of the games, I don't see Shadow Freddy ever coming back. And although yes, he wasn't set up to be the next big bad like Vanny was, I still wanted something from him because honestly, he had a lot going for him. He was one of the very few characters that was on Afton's side, besides Elizabeth, of course. But you know, that's something. And although yes, he's not a kid who got murdered and possesses the animatronics, he is a result of Afton's actions. It all essentially led to nothing because we haven't seen Shadow Freddy in years now, and we're not going to ever.
Jazzware is the greatest company of all time.